I want to talk about this fascinating article that came out earlier today about the last moments of those aid workers massacred in Afghanistan last week. First of all, it's an AP exclusive, which sounds like great marketing. It makes it sound really impressive and sexy, except it makes me ask, what about the 100 other AP articles that come out every day that aren't exclusive? Should I all of a sudden not be so interested in those? So I think that kind of marketing might backfire a little. You can't hype something up too much. All right, but on to the point. This article interviews the sole survivor of that massacre, who was an Afghani driver for the group. So the group of aid workers was driving back to Kabul from the area in which they had been working, and they were resting outside their vehicle after having crossed a swollen river. All of a sudden, apparently 10 warrior gunmen swarmed upon them. They smashed one guy in the back of the head with the butt of an AK-47. When that guy tried to get up, they shot him in cold blood in the torso. 3 of the women of the group tried to hide inside the SUV, but the gunmen were having none of that. They tossed a hand grenade in there and blew them to smithereens. And basically, they massacred everybody except this one guy. 2 other Afghanis in the group were killed. The guy doesn't know exactly why those 2 were killed and he wasn't. He suspects that one of the Afghanis that was killed was wearing a headscarf wrapped in a manner particular to the northern militias in Afghanistan. He further observed that these gunmen were yelling the word, if I pronounce it correctly, jadi, jadi, which means hurry up in several languages, but it's used mostly in Pakistan as opposed to Afghanistan, so he thinks that the gunmen were Pakistani. He also observed that these guys understood 3 different local languages, but only spoke in one of them, which is unique to the northeast corner of Afghanistan. So now I ask, the American military is there to rebuild this country. How many American military personnel understand who uses the word jadi and who doesn't, and what it means, and which Afghans speak which of the many languages in there, and who understands which, and what does it mean to understand one language and speak another? I'll tell you the answer. The answer is none. No American military personnel understand these subtleties. How in the world are we going to reconstruct that country? It's a mission doomed to failure, and meanwhile, a lot of people are going to get killed. So anyway, the massacre is complete, 10 people are killed, and the gunmen grab this guy and make him hike with them 7 or 8 hours through a forest to some other village. 7 or 8 hours hiking with the guys who just killed 10 of your companions. And he's the whole time, I'm sure he's scared to death that they're going to turn on him at any moment. I go hiking sometimes in LA. After about an hour and a half, I'm kind of sick of it. 7 or 8 hours through some Afghani forest with these crazy gunmen. Man, this is a miserable experience. They finally arrive at the destination that the warriors wanted to get to, and then they tell him he can go. But of course, he doesn't want to go. He thinks as soon as he turns his back, they're going to shoot him, and he grabs their ankles and pleads with them. Finally, they convince him that it's okay for him to go, and he bolts. He just starts running. He runs, no matter how exhausted he is, he runs. He rests on a big rock, he says, but not for long, and then he keeps running. And then he finds a guy on a donkey, and he hops on for a ride, and I don't know how many hours later, finally gets back to the village that was the base of operations for this aid working group. It's located in some harsh valley of 50,000 people who eke out an existence on subsistence farming and shepherding. What a harsh and miserable place Afghanistan is. And I think everyone who's paying attention knows how horrible and futile this war is. It's just that this article brought out some extra little details that really drove it home for me. I just hope we can get out of there tomorrow, because that's too late already.